I was born August the 25th, 1916, and my name is Constance Kathleen, and I was born in East Ham, London. My father was Albert Edward Lynn, and my mother was the late Miss Ayres, and died in 1939 at the age of 56. My school days started when I was 5 years of age. I went to St Anthony's School in Forest Gate. I was rather a dull child. I didn't want to learn. I would rather play and enjoy life. I didn't really take a keen interest in lessons. Any opportunity I got, I was out for enjoyment rather than to learn. I left school when I was 14 and found that life was more interesting after the school days. My best memories of being at school was when I could have holidays and play truant. I much enjoyed not being really at school and playing around at home, and really it didn't hold any great interest to me at all, and nobody seemed to care, so I didn't. In my teenage years, I first took a little job at the great Universal stores, which didn't prove very nice. I didn't get on very well with the filing, so turned to hairdressing and took a little apprenticeship with a Mr. Boehmer in Ilford, Essex. And then I went off to work again for a Miss Parr in Hornchurch in about 1932. And then I used to go dancing and went around with the girl Edie Clark and Ernie Clark and had a good time that way until I met Sam. Now, during this hairdressing apprenticeship, I met a German Jew called Vogler, who had his business in Oxford Street. And I was supposed to be meeting my mother and sister, and instead of that, I decided to go to the theatre with him. And much to their horror, when they knocked on the shop, thinking that I was still working, there was no reply. And they banged and banged until we came along. And but much to their horror, they thought that something must have happened, as I didn't appear when they think that I should have done. Now, Sam was brought to the house one Sunday morning by Jack Woodward. They'd been on a commission on the China station together, and I immediately felt how charming he was, and he would keep talking about a sister that he had lost while she was nursing. She got malignant scarlet fever and died at the age of 18, and he was so interested, so it seemed to hit me, and I thought, well, how charming, and it'd be nice to see him again. And they said he would come and call again, which he did do, and came on his motorbike, which again thrilled me. To get onto the pillion was quite a thing. And to go out into Stapleford's Abbots and have a boiled egg for my tea, served by an old wartime veteran, and I really enjoyed those moments. And then we had a mad whirlwind courtship and decided to get married, and which was where I married at St Mary's Church, Hornchurch. There was a big wedding with them in picture hats and things that my mother had made, and we really enjoyed the wedding and the reception, and went off for our honeymoon to North Wales. And then from then, the first birth of the boy was in 35, and we had, then of course, the years went by quickly before war was declared. Well, war broke out, and Sam was immediately called up as he was on the reserve and had to go down to Shockley at Harwich and instruct boys. And then he got a draft ship to Plymouth, where I went and took a flat and took Brian, and he went to school in Plymouth for several months, well, for a year. And I was there during the Plymouth Blitz. And then Sam got a draft ship to the convoys to Bathurst in Africa. And he stayed on that for several years, the war years, until he was sent to the Mediterranean. Got mentioned in dispatches and got the BEM, and really had a very terrific voyages, but he seemed to come through safely and happily. Now, when war ended, we found a property in Ilford, and in 1945, and we waited for a couple of years when my son Paul was born in 47, and then Sam was called away, went out again with the naval convoys to the Mediterranean, feeling that he would be better returning to the Navy than staying in Civvy Street. And he would go away for 2 years and came back, and when Paul was about 2. And then we went on, and Paul grew up, went off to school, and then passed his exams to get into Bonaventures, which he didn't like. And then the years flew by, and we got Brian was married, and that was disastrous, the first marriage. And then we moved down to Sam's Folly, and used to go down to the Gibbet a lot to visit Ernie and Jessie, and Andrew used to go off to school, and boys used to play in the pond there and enjoy things. Unfortunately, my husband was taken ill with dementia, and he died on the 17th of August, 1980. It was a long, prolonged illness. He was taken bad about 1962. About 1970. And we lost him, unfortunately, 11 years ago, which was in 1980. Now, at present, I'm living a quiet life of retirement in a cottage in Hoo, in Plymouth. I find I go and play cards 6 days a week, and find life quite quiet, but I get around to visit my family as much as possible, mostly my 2 sisters, which also have lost their husbands, and we find peace in seeing each other.